Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players. I'm the RJBZR. One of the things I really like about Magic is that they have a bunch of just totally weirdo formats that every once in a while they play the game in just for fun. And these are formats that just totally throw a wrench into the game and cause people to come up with new strategies and think of the game a different way, do a little bit of lateral thinking, and it just adds a lot of variety to the game. Now, I've always been sorry that Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do this. I mean, we have these side events at YCSs, things like, I don't know, the Pegasus Duel and those Winnamats where you only get a structure deck to play with. But we've never actually had these events where the game is played totally differently. So I've been discussing this with a lot of other people who go to Dice Age games, and we've come up with this idea. One of the people who goes there, who's actually the team captain of Team Terminal, who I went to YCS Seattle with, and I am now kind of unofficially becoming a member of, is going to write up a new format every month, and Dice Age Games is going to have a day of tourneys in that format, and at the end, we are all going to vote as to whether we liked that format or not. And the ones that were wildly successful, we log in and we do every once in a while just for fun. And I want to pass on these tournaments to you guys so that you guys have just a new frontier to look at when playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Other than, new decks and stuff, and you have a little excitement in your lives. Because heaven knows tabletop gamers need more excitement in their lives. So, last week was our first one, and what it was a tag team tournament. Now, it wasn't your standard casual tag team tournament or game, tag team rules, where, you have two teams of two players, and the players are just totally separated from each other. They have their own decks, their own boards, their own graves, their own set of 8,000 life points. The difference is they're strategizing together during the game and working toward a team goal for the victory instead of an individual win. This version is a little more like the Tag Force games. I don't know if you guys have played those, but the way it works is, of course, there are two teams of two players, but the biggest difference is, instead of being two separate players on the team, the entire team gets one board. That means that they get one field and one graveyard, and the team gets 8,000 life points. The whole team. So the way this works is both teams choose a leader or a leadoff or captain or whatever you want to call it. And those two leaders sit in front of each other and set up the game like a normal 1-versus-1 game. So they roll the dice, see who goes first, and the leader of the team that won the die roll goes first. They draw their hand of 5. They play their turn like normally, except when they end their turn, they shift with their teammate. That means that they take their deck and their hands and they put it to the side, and their teammate sits down at the same board, same table, same spot, except they put their deck there, draw their own hand of 5, and it works for the other team too. So you have team 1, player A goes, and then at the end of their turn, they switch with team 1, player B, and then team 2, player A goes, and then they switch places with team 2, player B. Now, the fun part about this, the thing that makes this really interesting, other than the fact that the two players have to play with one board and one set of 8,000 life points, is the fact that your hand is not public knowledge with your teammate. You are not allowed to strategize with your teammate during the duel. You are, of course, allowed to look at the face downs that they put on the board, since the board is now yours when you are sitting down. But you have to trust your teammate to know what they're doing. This means that you have a lot of bonding and a lot of strategizing ahead of the game and before the tournament even starts to get to know each other's plays and to work out a common strategy whereby your decks can create a kind of synergy. And it creates a really fun new way of deck building where you have one player who might be support for the other player's strategy, or one player gets it going and the other keeps it going, or whatever you want. But you have to trust your opponent. And one of the fun things about it is, you could set cards for your opponent to use. One of the teams, actually the team that won, was a Samurai and Prophecy team, and the Prophecy player was running a Rhoda, so that they could set the Rhoda for the Samurai player to play next turn, so that they'd each have extra search cards, and it promotes a lot of synergy between two players. One of the things you're going to want to do if you're doing this format is restrict certain archetypal cards. Like, one of the things we did with the tournament is we said that no two decks could be using the same archetype, and no two decks could be using support cards of one archetype. So the 6 Sam player couldn't use, like, High Priestess, or the Prophecy player couldn't run Xian's Smoke Signal, but you can do more non-specific cards, and you get to choose which ones are exceptions, but it really makes it a lot easier. And one of the rules that we did, just to make sure that we didn't have something stupid happen, was no two teams are allowed, or no two players on one team are allowed to have different alternate win conditions. Like, you couldn't have an Exodia deck and a Final Countdown deck pair up, because that would just be way too much bullcrap for one duel. So it's a very fun format. I highly recommend it. Just so you guys see what it plays like, I am going to put up a couple of video clips of some of the duels that happened on Saturday. Fair warning, Dice Age Games players really like video bombing. They have a strange fetish for it. But I will also be giving you guys the deck profile for the deck that I ran. That's actually a revamp of an old one that I put up a long time ago that I absolutely love, and is just ridiculously stupid. So I will be shooting you guys those videos a little later, and until then, this is the RJB0 signing out.